In today's headlines, long lines at the Provo Airport, the latest developments to the National Education Financial Assistance Policy 2022, and part 2 of our interview with Dr. Carlton Mills.
From the PTV Broadcasting Headquarters in Providencial is your number one source for news. I'm Erica Pinales, delivering the latest from across the country this Monday newscast right to your door. Newswatch starts now.
It's no secret that the TCI economy continues to rebound nicely from the hit of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the travel and tourism industry is no exception. So much so that airport officials over the weekend were faced with congestion issues at the Providenciales International Airport. Take a look.
Hot and humid temperatures, uncomfortable standing for extended periods, and a fear of missing their flights were all issues experienced by travelers at the Providenciales International Airport over the weekend. The airport was reminiscent of a mega hub like Miami International on a busy day, only there was nowhere to sit and wait, no air conditioning, and not enough kiosks for self-check-in, not to mention the lines for international travelers running as far back as the domestic check-in desks. According to the Turks and Caicos Islands Airports Authority, the congestion was due to infrastructural limitations and flight delays. While this is very clear, it could also not be ignored that the TCI's tourism sector continues to rebound impressively from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Ever so often, the Providenciales International Airport experiences this type of dilemma, most notably on weekends, which officials say are peak travel days for the country, citing that a total of 4,031 passengers were processed, not to mention the grounding of 27 flights, all within that 3-day period, a grave strain on not just the travelers, but the airport's employees. Officials say long-term development strategies are being reviewed by way of a new terminal building, ancillary facilities, and upgrades to the taxiway system and airfield as they work toward the expansion of the airport as a permanent solution.
TC Islanders looking to study at the Turks and Caicos Islands Community College aren't the only ones set to benefit from scholarships or free education, if you will. Newswatch brings the latest developments to the National Education Financial Assistance Policy 2022.
Now officially named the Turks and Caicos Islands National Education Financial Assistance Policy 2022, the revised policy now reproduces improvements for those wanting to further their education. Ministry of Education officials have expanded the areas of studies for financial assistance as well as universities offered. The revision now entails education for special needs students, mature students, cadets, and students from all socioeconomic backgrounds. Here's a list of the new terminology for scholarship offer categories: Full Financial Assistance Award, or FFAA, Partial Financial Assistance Award, or PFAA, One-Off Financial Assistance Award, OFAA, and Distance Learning Financial Assistance, DLFA. And then there's a look at the key areas revised. Special Scholarship Awards, which includes National Scholars Awards and Cadet Scholarship, Vulnerable and or Low-Income Student Scholarship, which includes the TCI Hope Award, Ivy League Institutions Acceptance Criteria, Scholarship for Special Needs Students, Mature Student Eligibility, as well as the appeals process, areas of priority, and the list of approved institutions. Officials also announced the launch of the new scholarship website, which can be accessed at www.gov.tc/scholarship secretariat. The deadline for scholarship application submissions is April 30th.
Don't go anywhere. More Newswatch when we return.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
Welcome back to Newswatch. Nice to have you with us. Dr. Carlton Mills, known for his incredible wealth of talent and knowledge, shares the story of his upbringing in part 2 of our interview.
Dr. Carlton Mills, a long-standing educator, opened up to Newswatch in an exclusive interview about how he overcame the circumstances that almost held him back from attaining his education dream.
You know, going to Jamaica with only $500 and having to survive off $30-something a month, right? Paying bus fare. And for 2 years, for lunch, I had a Jamaican patty and a bottle of soda. For 2 years, that was my lunch. Well, I had a meal when I got home. But, you know, I couldn't afford anything else. I couldn't even afford to take a girlfriend to the movies, you know. And I think all of that made me, that toughness, that hardship, those challenges with little money made me focus more on my studies. So that's how I started.
He explained that from there he moved on to UWI, where he got a certificate in social work when at the time his interest was in being a counselor. He also added that after getting certified in social work, he then went on and got his bachelor's.
The rest is history. I went on to UWI, did my bachelor's, and that was another struggle. I was accepted by UWI in 1982. Was turned down again for a scholarship, right? I borrowed money from what was TC Invest, Invest TCI, but it was TC Invest Development Board at the time. They were only lending $10,000, and that could only serve me for 1 year. After exhausting my funds, I came back home. I went to the same minister again. He told me no. And I want to make a point here to say thanks to Honorable Norman Saunders, who was the chief minister at the time, and the representative of South Caicos. And I went to him, and he sought a scholarship out for me. That's how I was able to complete my studies.
Even though Mills was denied of scholarships multiple times, he persisted and was able to continue his studies with the help of Honorable Norman Saunders, who was the representative for South Caicos at the time.
So I want to say all of this, going back to your first question, all of these struggles and blocks that were put in my way gave me that inspiration and that desire to help young people and to encourage young people that no matter what curveballs are thrown at you, you got to learn to deal with each one and take it one step at a time.
Later in this exclusive, we touched on success, and Dr. Mills was inquired on whether he deems himself successful.
In my own rights, yes. Some people see success as having so much around them, having millions in the bank. My success comes through having a beautiful wife, 2 biological kids, and 3 through marriage, so 5 kids. And having achieved a doctorate degree, at having been able to study. I mean, coming from a little community like South Caicos.
He elucidated on the satisfaction he feels from knowing that he accomplished completing his studies and excelling from the expectations of becoming a fisherman from South Caicos.
I see that as successful. I see it as successful being able to remember at Long Bay with the 2 of you. I mean, I'm sitting 2 past students, although I didn't get to see you guys graduate. Unfortunately, it was my dream. But going into the banks and looking at government now, the past government, the premier, having to knowing that the Honorable Charlene Cartwright, that she was in my history class, one of the first group of students I sent up for history while in fourth form and passed with an A at GC. Honorable Jay Saunders was also in that same class. Mr. Renwell Lewis, who is now one of the education officers. When you look back at many of these students, the CEO of Fortis, Mrs. Ruth Forbes, having the privilege of teaching her and knowing what she went through, and I think I was principal at the time when she was in high school. So when I look at, that's how I see success.
Stay tuned for part 3 of this exclusive in a subsequent newscast.
The Department of Gender Affairs has been hosting events throughout the country all month long in celebration of International Women's Day and International Women's History Month. Here's more.
The array of events began on Sunday, March 6th with the church service held at the Rock of Jesus Ministry in 5 Keys, Providenciales. The most recent event was held this past Thursday, March 17th in North Caicos, where 2 very distinctive women were especially recognized.
I wanted to honor two ladies who are always doing, for different reasons. The first person, she is always the doer. So I wanted to show appreciation to her for what she does. And I'm sure many times it goes unnoticed. So for International Women's Day, one of the honorees is Mrs. Kay Stubbs.
Kay Stubbs is one of the women who were recognized as honorees for her dedication and selfless acts in services in silence.
No task is too big or too small. She'll fill in wherever there is a need. She answers whenever there's a call. Service and excellence are synonymous with Kay. She sets her standard very high. Family and friendship and colleagues are true. On her loyalty, they have come to rely.
Nancy Delancey was the second honoree for the Department of Gender Affairs Night of Comedy and Fun, who humbly accepted her recognition and delighted herself in a poem written especially for her.
She's dedicated years of service, equipping us with life's learning tools. Who will till the soil? The unspoken question was heard. Not I, said younger generation. Yet again, Nancy Henrietta Delancey answered. Up at the break of dawn, planting crops with North Caicos pride. Sweet potatoes, cassava, beans, and green corn, organically grown with no pesticides.
Delancey has dedicated most of her life to teaching, farming, and craft making. Reportedly over the years, she has put the same patience, compassion, kindness, and gentleness those fields require into her relationships throughout life.
There are many more seniors like her who are still working tirelessly. If only the next generation would say, here I am. Teach me.
The Department of Gender Affairs final event takes place on the 25th of March with a Break the Bias Women's panel at the Living World Center Ministries for an ending commemorating women while in reverence. Don't touch that remote. We'll be right back. Coming up next is your weather forecast.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
Welcome back to Newswatch. Here's the latest in your weather forecast.
Here's a look at the weather forecast for March 22nd, 2022. Grand Turk on Tuesday, mostly sunny skies, high 80, low 75, winds east at 15 to 25 miles per hour. South Caicos on Tuesday, partly cloudy skies, high 80, low 75, winds east at 15 to 25 miles per hour. North and Middle Caicos on Tuesday, mostly sunny skies, high 82, low 75, winds east at 15 to 25 miles per hour. For Parrot and Pine Key on Tuesday, mostly sunny skies, high 80, low 75, winds east at 15 to 25 miles per hour. And on Providenciales for Tuesday, mostly sunny skies, high 80, low 75, winds east at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Sunrise at 6:52 a.m. and sets at 7:01 p.m. And now we'll look at the high tides and low tides. High tides 11:17 a.m., 11:48 p.m. Low tides 5:17 a.m., 5:19 p.m. That's it for the weather forecast. We'll be right back with more News Watch.
Here at People's Television, we're more than just your leading news and entertainment services. We are
spreading the gospel.
We are breaking barriers.
We are preserving the culture. Each one, teach one.
We are committed to excellence.
We're creating change.
We are creating memories.
We are the future.
I am PTV.
I am PTV. I am PTV.
I am PTV.
We are PTV.
We are PTV.
We are continuing the legacy. We are PTV.
Welcome back to Newswatch. As part of its strategic planning for 2022, InvestTC hosted a number of stakeholder engagement forums to review the 2018 investment policy. Here's more.
InvestTCI hosted the forum to encourage dialogue that will facilitate the realignment of investment priorities for the Turks and Caicos Islands. They revealed that the end goal is to ensure that the investment policy statement clearly communicates the country's investment goals and the strategies that will serve as guideposts for managing its portfolio of investment projects. InvestTCI was joined by government departments, industry leaders, and business sectors on February 24, 2022 at the Blue Haven Resort. The forum kicked off at 10 a.m. with opening remarks from the Premier, Honorable Charles Washington Mizik, who thanked the attendees for their participation and InvestTCI for their efforts. In his remarks, the Premier stated, "It is very important that the Turks and Caicos Islands government make it exceptionally clear that they want the future of the investment climate in the islands to be." The Premier noted that his government is favorable to greenlighting investments that benefit the people of the Turks and Caicos Islands. He stressed that growth needs to not only be organic, but intentional and inclusive to the advantage of the Turks and Caicos Islanders. In his remarks, the Honorable E.J. Saunders, Deputy Premier and Minister of Finance, Investment and Trade, discussed the government's vision for investment in the TCI. Honorable Saunders started his remarks by firstly stating, "The most important aspect is that investments benefit Turks and Caicos Islanders. Otherwise, it makes no sense." Honorable Saunders noted that the government envisions investment to go beyond brick and mortar development. He stated that there is a focus on a wide range of sectors such as medical and sports tourism, ecotourism, financial and secretarial services, international law and accounting firms, and fintech services, amongst other areas. Honorable Saunders expressed that MSMEs are vital and that the government looks favorable upon companies that want to assist small businesses by providing venture capital and training for Turks Islanders. Following the remarks, participants were divided into teams of 6 to 8. The group was allocated a specific time frame to have an open discussion on various questions regarding InvestTCI's investment services, process improvement, investment target, and investment incentives. The group then presented their responsibilities to the entire plenary. At the end of the day, a series of practical solutions were generated for consideration to update the investment policy. Acting CEO for InvestTCI, Angela Musgrove, commenting on the outcome of the forum, stated, "I was pleased with the honest and open dialogue from key stakeholders. Our review of the policy seeks to ensure that the investment policy statement encourages the right investor and investment and establishes processes that support and encourage both foreign and domestic investment, and further that the policy framework presents optimal benefits for the country." That brings us to the end of this edition of The Real News. I hate to leave you so soon, but of course, you can join us right back here every weekday at 6:30 p.m. and tap into our social media platforms at www.ptv8tci.com. I'm Erica Penales, keeping you informed, updated, and affiliated. Until next time.